Welcome back to the Other Rough podcast. My name is Nate, and joining me as always is my co-host Jake. Jake, how are we doing today?
We're doing well, Nate. Just to recap last week, congratulations to David Puig or Puig, however you say it, on winning the BMW Australian PGA Championship. He won with a score of 18 under par. He finally broke the streak of Australians just dominating that event. It was wide open heading into Sunday. I feel like everyone who had a card had someone in contention who could have made a move on Sunday and won. That person ended up being David Puig or Puig, whatever. So congratulations to him. I had Marco Penge who finished T25, which was pretty disappointing in my opinion. I felt like he was the cream of the crop here and kind of a disappointing result in my opinion. And we were both on Daniel Hillier, who finished top five. He definitely had a chance going into Sunday, but came up a little short for us. So a little disappointed there, but nonetheless a solid finish for him.
Yeah, the front nine really kept him out of it. He had a great back nine and kind of got within maybe a chance if Puig were to blow up or, post some bogeys late on, but he didn't. He held true and came through with a bunch of pars down the stretch after opposite pretty much of everyone else. He had a great front nine, then held on and then ended up winning by like two or three strokes really handily. But yeah, broke the streak there of Australian dominated event. I mean, he's a talent, right? We all knew this. He
Yeah.
was the kind of the cream of the crop coming out of college, and he bounced to live right out of college, and just take some time to get going, transition from college to professional golf. And I think this may be one of those things where he has quote unquote arrived. I know he's won on the Asian tour before, but this is a big win for someone like David Puig, who is a legit talent. This guy can mash a ball like a mile.
Yeah.
He is so strong off the tee and stuff like that. So good to see him win, and I hope that the live contingent can keep going for one of these tournaments later on. We'll talk about maybe even two, I guess. But before we do hop into things, though, Jake, we have three tournaments this week. Of course, we have the Hero World Challenge, a 20-man invitational down in the Bahamas. Then we have the Nedbank Golf Challenge in South Africa of the DP World Tour, a limited field. I think it's like 72 golfers or 72 are invited. I'm not sure they actually come. And then we have the Crown Australian Open, which we were talking about before the podcast. Used to be a pretty prestigious event. We've had Jack Nicklaus and all the likes of the legend of the game winning down here, but since the last decade or so, it's kind of trickled down to it's an all field event essentially at this point. We do have some big names down there, the Rory McIlroys, the world and stuff. We're probably playing for some sponsorship reasons or things like that. They're down there by choice. But either way, before we do hop into those tournaments, Jake, what on social media?
Yep, new Twitter handle for me. So you could find me at JakeOOTR. Nate, I copied you a little bit there. So feel free to follow me there. I post all of my outright betting cards. So be sure to give me a follow. Also, be sure to join the Out of the Rough Discord. Completely free to join. There's no hidden paywalls once you're in there. We have a community of 250 plus members ranging from golf fanatics to professional golfers. Every member brings valuable information to the Discord, which makes it such a good resource to have at your fingertips completely free of charge. Included in there is the community wager tracker, which Nate manages. You post your outright betting cards. Nate accumulates everyone's picks into one spot. That gives us a nice tracking interest list as the week goes on, so we could see what members are on what players. And then hopefully on Sunday, we're congratulating a bunch of people on hitting some nice outright winners there. So again, reach out to Nate or myself and we'll get you the link to join that completely free. No hidden paywalls once you're in there. It's just a great resource to have.
Yeah, and I guess moving forward, we talked about it, Jake. We'll shout you out on the podcast here if you are one of those winners in the community tracker and added incentive to hop in there. We had no one on David Puig, but he was like 10-1, 9-1 last week, so it wasn't a number that many people backed in any way or form. Do have to give a shout out to Craig though, who tipped the LET winner. The name is escaping me, even though a bunch of us tailed him, including myself, about 25 to 30-1. So a great little added bonus down there to finish off the season. But yeah, guys, beyond just the community itself and the community tracker, Jake and I post exclusive content throughout the season there. My first round leaders of in various smaller tours. Jake does the his matchup plays exclusive to the Discord, and like I said, it's a great community. We're all friendly in there. It's just a great time to come hang out, talk golf, and have some banter and even some heated discussions at time in there. But beyond that, be sure to check that out. You can follow myself, Nate, on Twitter at NateOOTR. You can follow Out of the Rough on all social medias at various handles. Visit our website, ootrough.com. On there, you can find my weekly Out of the Rough Golf Pen Article series of the PGA Tour, DP World Tour, LPGA, and Live Golf Tour each and every week. Full in-depth breakdowns of the field event and course, as well as my full betting cards posted on the website for free as well. On there, you can find the weekly Out of the Rough one and done, which we're doing both the PGA Tour once the season wraps around here, and the DP World Tour. The DP World Tour started last week, of course, down in Australia. We'll continue into this week with 2 events. And then from there, we will continue the PGA Tour once that season starts. Also on the website, strokes gained putting per grass type data free of charge and all of that. So be sure to check all of that out that we offer. Again, no cost to you whatsoever. We also have a weekly newsletter if you want to be part of that, where we compile everything we have to offer in a week and send it to you. Exclusive to that is the full placement chart for the respective tournament on the PGA Tour there as well. All right, with all that behind us, we have 3 tournaments to talk about this week. So let's hop into things and not get too bogged down with everything else. We'll kick it off here with the Hero World Challenge, maybe the least exciting of the 3 tournaments this week, honestly. I know we're getting some big names down here in the Bermudas. 20-man field, first stage at the Greyhawk Golf Club in 99, and then it's been moved to the Sherwood Country Club in California in 2000 and was staged there for 14 years. But since 2014, where it was held at the Islewood Golf Course or Golf and Country Club, it moved to Albany in the Bahamas in 2015 and continues to be hosted there today. It is hosted by Tiger Woods himself, who last heated up here in 2023. Of course, will not be playing this year for obvious reasons. The weekly yield of $5 million purse with $1 million purse to the winner. So some incentive there. Beyond that, there isn't much incentive for these guys. You have Scotty Scheffler, world number one, 2-time defending champion. Probably going to come down here and walk the field as he has the last 2 years. Won by a 6-stroke margin over Tom Kim a season ago. Defending U.S. Open champion, world number 7, J.J. Spahn, making his tournament debut this week. Hideki Matsuyama won back in 2016 at this golf course and is the only other winner outside of Scotty at this golf course to be teeing up this week. The rest of the field, we have McIntyre, English, Bradley, Rose, Straka, Young, Burns, Connors, Goddard, Clark, Harmon, Novak, Noren, Rye, Batia, Horschel, and Jordan Spieth. So the course this week set a par 72 at 7,414 yards. An Ernie Els design that was opened in 2010. And of course, it's been used as this tournament host since 2015. What's unique about this golf course to take note is it has a rare combination of 5 par 5s, 5 par 3s, and 8 par 4s. Typically, in a standard golf course, you have 4, 4, and 10 in respective if you're playing a par 72. So the unique in that aspect. 3 of the par 5s measure over 590 yards, and 4 of the par 4s play over 470 yards. It is a long golf course, so you need some long iron play and some distance off the tee to compete here. Best described as an exposed, flat, link-style course with dunes up to 30 feet tall. The greens this week are fairly small in terms of PGA Tour average and consist of Bermuda grass. It is a heavily bunkered golf course with a multitude of natural waste areas lining the fairways. So yes, you do need some distance off the tee, but if you find yourself in one of these waste areas, you're gonna take a drop, and it's a birdie fest. So hitting too many of those, dig yourself out of it. Again, a resort golf course in the Bahamas, coastal winds will be a factor, and that's basically outside of the dunes, the sand, and the wind. Those are your major lines of defenses this week. Jake, anything to add before we move forward?
No, I think you covered it all.
All right, I know you have one play this week, and I have two, so I'll kick things off here with Sepp Straka at 25-1. We haven't seen him since the Ryder Cup, where, of course, he was part of the winning European side. But in terms of that, there's not much a form to go off of. But he does have a proven track record at this event. He placed ninth here a season ago, second in 2023, and 10th in 2022. So finished in the top half of the field in the last 3 years of this golf course and event. Finished last season the PGA Tour, 7th on approach, 5th or 10th in par 5, 16th in birdie or better, 20th in par 3, 24th in great relations, 70th in total driving, 95th in scrambling, 110th in strokes gained playing Bermuda. So again, we have a 20-man field for a 2-time winner of the PGA Tour last season at 25-1. I think it's a good value for him. And again, this could very well just be a Scotty Scheffler week in and week out. It's pretty straightforward for him coming out here to win $1 million because there isn't much incentive for a lot of these guys, except Scotty Scheffler, who just has that knack, like a Tiger Woods-esque. I need to win every event I step foot on. Like, Scotty Scheffler, before his son more so, but he eats, sleeps, and breathes golf. So we know he's going to come with his A game, but can hope if someone like Sepp Straka at 25-1 can give him a run for his money this week.
Yeah, I feel like Straka's a really good sleeper play here just because towards the end of the PGA Tour season, it kind of looked like he was fading off. I think there was some injury concern or something personal he was dealing with. There were question marks about him going into the Ryder Cup. Obviously ended up playing in that. But that being said, like you had mentioned, great track record here. This was probably his best PGA Tour season altogether with two wins, one at the Truist and one at the American Express. Continuously gained with the irons, very accurate off the tee, could spike with the putter. He has the game to win, so I think there's value on the number at with Straka at 25.
Yeah, I think he had a kid or something. I think
Oh
that was
yeah,
the he did it without, a big old show or things. I think it just kind of came out that he had a child, and that's why he missed a lot of stuff at the end of the season.
that explains it.
There we go.
So you alluded to my pick here. It's not fun. It's not glorious. If he wins, it's not a huge payout, but I'm going with Scotty Scheffler here. I got him at plus 155. I just couldn't find myself I couldn't bring myself to bet anyone towards the top of the board here. Didn't want to go towards the bottom. The odds just weren't enticing enough to me. Scotty Scheffler has handled this event over the last 4 years he's played it. He went runner-up back-to-back in 2022 and 2023. Or sorry, 2022 well, yeah, sorry. There were two renditions in 2023. Sorry, screws me up.
Yes.
The second rendition in 2023, he won by a field goal over Sepp Straka, and then in 2024, he won by a touchdown over Tom Kim. He just dominates this event. We've seen him. I don't even need to harp on it. He's just the best player in the world. His stats from the 2025 season were insane. First in strokes gained total, second off the tee, first in on approach, 16th around the green, 22nd putting. The ghosts and the big qualm with Scotty was always the putter. He's definitely figured it out, proven through the 2025 season. So I'm hoping that I could just take my little bit over a unit in return and hopefully cover some of my DP World Tour crapshoots this week.
Yeah, and Scotty Scheffler played 20 some odd events this season and has an average finishing placement of like sixth, which
Yeah,
is absolutely insanity. So we know what he's coming to the table. And again, if he wins by 10 strokes, no one's gonna be surprised, right? It's not like, holy, did you see what Scotty did this weekend? We're like, oh, Scotty Scheffler did it again. It's at this point, it's what we're at. So yeah, if you can play to your advantage and win a unit back, so be it and move forward.
yep. It's one of those where I'm not overexposing myself, right? I usually
Yes.
do to win 10 units. That is not the case with Scotty
No.
Scheffler. I'm not risking 9 units to win 10 here. I'm risking my 1 unit. If he gets it done, great. If not, it's what I would have lost anyway.
And it's also a 20-man event. This is not your normal week where you're betting a
Yeah,
full betting card. You're placing one or two bets and just having fun with it, right? This isn't to make a ton of money on this event, as you said, and especially with Scotty Scheffler on the field and try to capitalize on that.
exactly.
I got one final play this week. I think it's a good number. Chris got her up at 33 to 1. And I talked about the incentive for a lot of these guys. And some of these guys are just coming down here for a vacation and hopefully a little bit of a paycheck. But Chris Goddard, I think, is a little added incentive, meaning, he's kind of trying to prove that he belongs with some of these bigger names at these events and trying to prove that his omission from, if you believe it or not, or from the Ryder Cup team was to be a mistake. So he has that going for him. And this golf course just fits what Chris Gotterup does, right? He hits the ball quite a distance. He, is very, very good in the par fives. He's 19th in scrambling, 22nd green relations. He's 20 or 36 in par five, 37 in par threes, 54th total driving, 40th in strokes and putting Bermuda. So he has that combination. We talk about it all the time. The distance off the tee with a quality putter. The approach numbers aren't where you want to be at 105, slightly about below tour average, maybe just at tour average. But he last played in the Bay Current, placed 40th there, part of that T10 of the Tour Championship, 33rd of the BMW, 54th of the FedEx St. Jude, and 10th of the 3M Open, third at the Open, of course, won the Genesis Scottish Open. So making his tournament debut this week, but I think 33 to 1 is a good enough number to take a little chance here with a little bit of money. Again, I'm not playing my full card here, looking for the same payout as I would on a PGA Tour normal event. But I think there's just some added juice there at 33 to 1 for someone like Chris Goddard trying to prove a point.
Yeah, Gotterup was almost the reason why I didn't do Scotty Scheffler. It's because I really think that he's live this week and the number is enticing. This was the only player that I was enticed to consider at longer odds. I think he fits this golf course really well, where you got to just nuke the ball off the tee and just, also have solid iron play, which, like you said, a little suboptimal, but towards the end of the season proved that, his irons were starting to click and he has a great short game to go with it. So I like the call there at 33. Um, yeah, that's all I got for him.
All right, well, that concludes the Hero World Challenge. This is pretty much the end of the PGA Tour season. I know the official season has ended and everything else. This is kind of an added incentive. I know if you want to bet like Q School in 2 weeks or you have the Grant Thornton in 3 weeks, whatever you want to do with that. But for the PGA Tour betting, this is pretty much the end of the line for most people. And most people are skipping the hero this week anyways because of Scotty Scheffler in a 20-man field either way. But let's move over to some of the better tournaments offered this week of the DP World Tour. We got two of them, of course. We'll kick off here with the Netted Bank Golf Challenge in honor of Gary Player. So, yeah. So also happening this week, we talked about is the Australian or the Crown Australian Open. So we have two events of the DP World Tour this week. This is a limited field event, the Dead Bank that is. Last year's edition saw it move. It used to be held as the penultimate event of the DP World Tour season from 22 to 23. Then last year it moved to this fall slot. So this is the second year it's played in the fall. It's been staged since 1981, and at that time it was a 12-man invitational. 11 years later, it turned into a co-sanctioned event between the Sunshine Tour and the TP World Tour with a 30-man field, and now we have upwards of 72 golfers playing in this since 2016. The event has been held at the Gary Player Country Club in Sun City, South Africa, since its inception since 1981. We talked about it, limited field already, but we have plenty of star power this week. Seven-time PGA Tour winner Victor Hovland headlines this field. He has PGA Tour regulars Nick Taylor, Thomas Dietrich, Aldrich Potgieter, Will Zalatoris, Garrick Higgo, Christian Bezenut, and Thorborn Olsen teaming up alongside him. Of course, a strong South African contingent will be in attendance this week, headlined by, of course, Potgieter, Higgo, and Bezenut. Other notable South Africans, we have Thriston Lawrence, Daniel Van Tonder, who played very well on the Hotel Planet Tour this year. You have Jaquez Koroywicz, who won the DP World Tour last season. Christian Lampert, who is one of the up and coming guys. The Corn Ferry Tour, very long off the tee, as the South African game kind of emulates now. Notable DP World Tour golfers playing this week: Marco Penge, Jungwon Lee, Grant Forrest, Daniel Brown, Adrian Sedair, Connor Syme, Nicholas Van Delhuizen, Christopher Raitan, Martin Kuvra, Eugenia Shakara, Hotang Lee, Laurie Cantor, among others. Adrian Meronk will represent Live Golf Tour this week. Johannes Veerman comes in the defending champion, winning by an impressive 5 strokes over the likes of Matthew Jordan, Romain Lançois, and Potgieter to claim his second DP World Tour title last season. And Daniel Willett is the only other winner of this event in this week's field. So the Gary Player Country Club in Sun City, South Africa, plays the par 72 at 7,819 yards. Again, when you see these South African tracks, you're going to see a monster number next to them in terms of distance. But remember, most of these are played at altitude. So this golf course will play roughly 10% less than what the scorecard number 7819 lists. So it's still a long course, no way around it, but it's just not as long as that number is to offer. The fairways feature this week are rather narrow and are guarded by thick Rakayu rough. With the length of the course, driving distance off the tee, of course, will be important, but missing the fairways will be penal this week. With this rough, it is a notoriously tough rough to play from. If a golfer is to find himself buried in the rough, it is probable that they will find enough greens regulations to compete this week. The greens here at the Gary Player Country Club are bent grass, small in size and shaped like clovers, and are surrounded by a multitude of bunkers. They run about 11 centimeter. The tour's best putters will keep a leg up this week, especially those who shine on the more difficult bent grass greens. Although around the green, work will be important this week as well due to the odd shapes of these greens, along with having to play from the Kaigu rough at some point across the 4 days. Not every golfer is going to find every single fairway, so trying to hold these greens, these odd shaped greens, from this really tough rough is going to be a difficult task for anyone. So yeah, you have to attack the 4 lengthy par fives at this course and take advantage of that. But again, it's a spectacular piece of golf architecture that too offers a picturesque backdrop of the Pilanesberg Mountains. All right, Jake, anything to add there?
Nope, think you covered it all.
All right. So I have 3 guys in the card. Jake, how many do you have?
I've got three as well.
All right. Well, I kicked off last time, so I'll take it this one.
Perfect. Okay, so I'm starting my card here. I'm going back to the well with Marco Penge. I wanted a little bit of a better number given his result last week, but it actually got a little bit worse. I got him at just under 14 to 1. I think he just carries the skill set you need to win at this golf course, or this golf tournament, really. He brings plus distance off the tee. He has very sharp irons, and he can get the putter going. He's had one of the better PG or better DP World Tour seasons from anyone in this field. So obviously, I think he has 2 wins. Sorry,
3.
bad 3 wins this season. So that being said, I think he's the cream of the crop. I think he gets it done. He's number one in driving distance on the DP World Tour. Oh wait, sorry. We've already started 2026 stats on the DP World Tour website. So let's go back to 2025 with a bit of a bigger sample size. 92nd in driving accuracy, 5th in driving distance, 11th in greens and regulation, 8th in putts per green, 61st in average putts per round, 72nd in sand saves, which could be a little bit problematic this week. But anyway, fifth in stroke average on the DP World Tour in 2025. So I think he's the cream of the crop. I hope that he can get it done this week for me at just under 14 to 1.
Yeah, I know we got some big names, at least some household names, of the PGA Tour playing this week, but of them, Victor Hovland's really the only superstar, I guess you could mention, and even then, he's been struggling as of late. I know he's turned things around, has some of the best iron play in the entire world outside of Scotty Scheffler. But if you get past Victor Hovland, I mean, you have Nick Taylor's of the world, the Thomas Dietrichs, like they're not going to honestly prove much of an issue this week. I know famous last words. But either way, you're going to have pretty much a DP World Tour field here, nonetheless. And Marco Pence has proved to be the cream of the crop last season. I mean, 3 wins in DP World Tour seasons, kind of unheard of as of late, especially with the top 10 promotion and all of that to the PGA Tour. So yeah, I like it a lot. All right, so I'm going to roll in here to my first play, and I'm going to Tom McKibben at 22 to 1. Last saw him at the DP World Tour Championship, where he placed T16th. Prior to that, 66th at the Abu Dhabi, which is about dead last, but fourth at the Open de España. T15 out at the Alfred Dunhill Links. T11th at the BMW PGA Championship, and T20th at Amgen Irish Open. Most recently, teed up at the PIF Saudi International, where he placed T20th and won the Link Hong Kong Open on the Asian Tour not that long ago as well. Finished the 2025 DP World Tour season ninth in sand saves, 18th in green regulations. He's 20th in par fives, 30th in putting, 35th off the tee, 42nd in driving distance, 61st in scrambling, and 70th on approach. He played this event each of the last 2 seasons, not great results. So 60th last year in T33 in 2023. But I think this is a more mature, a better Tom Kibben, as you could argue. But I saw that number at 20. I found him at 22. I think he is a top five player in this field. So I'm getting some plus distance or some plus money at that 22 to 1 number. I just couldn't leave it on the table.
Yeah, I don't blame you at all. I think he's a super well-rounded golfer. I think he's only 22 years old. He's going to be hungry for those wins. And I think you really covered it all. I think it's a great number at 22. I definitely gave him some consideration, but that number had drifted a little bit below 20, and I chose a different route. So I can't blame you for 22. I like that a lot.
Yeah, and then these early tournaments that these guys are trying to get in here for the DP World Tour, these live golf guys, these are absolutely crucial for them to find OWGR placement points. So if he is to go on to win, that'd be massive for him making majors throughout the rest of the season. So we saw David Puig last week do it. He's going to be another guy that's just hungry to get those OWGR points to find himself into the majors later on this season.
Yep. Okay, so my next play here is going to be Christopher Wrighton. I got him at 30 to 1. Again, I think he just fits this course super well. He brings the driving distance and he's a great putter of the golf ball. The irons have been a little hit or miss. He gets into runs of form where the irons get hot, and that's when we have these spike performances. He's littered top 10 finishes all year on the DP World Tour. He has a win at the Sudal Open, and on the 2025 DP World Tour season, he ranks 66th in driving accuracy, 14th in driving distance, 38th in greens and regulation, 25th in putts per green, 29th in average putts per round, 36th in sand save, and 20th in stroke gain average. So in that upper quartile in almost every single meaningful statistic on the DP World Tour. I thought 30 carried a lot of extra meat on the bone, and I couldn't get away from it. His around the green leaves a lot to be desired, generally speaking, so a little bit scary. But like I had previously mentioned, he was 38th in greens and regulation last season and 36th in sand save. So I think that he can bring the game that you need to be successful here.
Yeah, so this is our first double up of the week here. I'm on him as well at 28 to 1. Like you said, I think this is a great golfer for this golf course. He's moving up to the PGA Tour here in a few weeks and needs to get that, there hasn't been a great track record of these guys moving from the DP World Tour to the PGA Tour. So now's the time to get those added DP points in case you need to come back in the fall and scramble for another card, as we saw like Thorbjorn Olsen do last year and all of that. So there's another way to get to back to your PGA status if you are to lose it. But I think these are important and crucial tournaments for these type of guys as well. And I don't know if he's going to struggle in the PGA Tour. I say that about some of these guys, they do struggle. It's a hard transition, right? But I
Yeah.
think this is a good golfer with a great value in a 72-man field to go on and win this tournament.
Yep.
Well, we double up there, Jake. So who's your last play?
My last play here is going to be Laurie Cantor. I've got him
Mhm.
at 35 to 1. He's just in such a good run of form recently that I couldn't steer myself away from him. Runner up at the Genesis Championship, T23 at the Abu Dhabi, and then a T3 at the DP World Tour Championship. He gained pretty much across the board in all three of those events. He played this event last year, finished T21. Another guy who he just seems to be in too good of a run of form to pass up at that number. On the 2025 season, he was 103rd in driving accuracy, which is not so great. 36th in driving distance, 14th in greens and regulation, 113th in putts per green, also really not good. 143rd in average putts per round, not great. 13th in sand saves and 67th in strokes gained average. It looks like he's kind of turned the corner recently with the putter. He's gained in three of his last three starts. He's also gained in two of his last three around the greens. So I'm kind of just banking on that run of form for him to get it done this week for me at 35 to 1.
Yeah, he was the first guy off my card. I opted for Ryan, the guy I'll talk about here next. Love the play because, of course, he was the first guy off my card. So I took a long look at him, and he's moving back to the live. So he's going to need those added OWGR points as well and fighting for his life there in that aspect. So I do love the play as well. And I'll just roll in my next guy here. Jesper Svensson at 40 to 1, a recent demo tee from the DP World Tour, or excuse me, from the PGA Tour back to the DP World Tour, where he gained his card via top 10 promotion the season before. Talk about the struggles of those guys. But Jesper Svensson brings a game I want this week, right? He is massive off the tee, where he finished fourth on the PGA Tour last season in driving distance. He was eighth in par five, scoring 10th off the tee, 64th around the green, 75th in green relations. And then from there, 97th in sand saves, 114 in strokes gained putting, 130 in approach, 139 in scrambling. But again, this is the PGA Tour. It's the top of the line, so it's a little bit of a, take it with a grain of salt as he moves back to the PGA or DP World Tour. Excuse me, keep messing that up. But we know what Jesper Springs. He is a guy who can get birdies in a hurry and then kind of blow tournaments away. We've seen it time and time again when he was on the DP World Tour more regularly. I just love the game, how it matches up. 40 to 1 is a big number in this type of a field for a guy of this talent because, again, he's proven to be able to play his way through a DP World Tour season back to the PGA Tour. So he is an elite talent, not an elite talent, excuse me. DP World Tour standing, he's a great talent. So I'm thinking he's hungry now. He got a taste of PGA Tour, wants to get back there and prove that he can belong up there in the top league in the world. So it starts here with a victory here at the Ned Bank.
Yeah, he just needs to catch fire with the putter. That's his biggest qualm. And we've seen him be able to gain half a stroke per round with the putter previously, both on the PGA Tour and DP World Tour. So if he catches that hot flat stick, the rest of the game is there for him to get it done. So I like the play.
I mean, he has some good performances as of late too. I know
Yeah.
T51 at the RSM, so be it, but T14 in Bermuda, missed a cut in Mexico, but T15 in Utah as well. So some top 15s there on the PJ Tour fall swing. So he has some fire there. He just got to put it all together for a full tournament and see what can happen.
Yep.
All right, so that wraps up the Ned Bank Golf Challenge of the DP World Tour. So let's move right in here to the next DP World Tour event. Kind of the one I'm most excited about, honestly, the Crown Australian Open. This is for the second straight week. The DP World Tour will stay in Australia, of course. Last week, the BMW Australian PGA Championship. Now we're the Crown Australian Open, co-sanctioned event between the DP World Tour and the PGA Tour of Australasia, as was last week. So first played in 1904, and then since 1930, the winner has been awarded the prestigious Stonehaven Cup. So Jack Nicklaus himself had previously deemed this event the quote-unquote fifth major, as he won this event six times. Many of the game's greats have lifted this Stonehaven Cup, including Nicklaus, Gary Player, Arnold Palmer, Tom Watson, Greg Norman, to name a few, have their name etched on this trophy. It's a nomadic event bounced between the best golf courses that Australia has to offer. For the first time since 1999, Royal Melbourne will play host this week, and this course did host the 2019 Presidents Cup most recently. And we have a pretty much a star-studded lineup or field for this week, surprisingly, because usually it's kind of an omitted event because of everything around it. But you have defending race to Dubai champion and world number two Rory McIlroy in this field with Cam Smith and Adam Scott along the way. There is a slew of a Live Golf Tour members in this week's field. You have Joaquim Niemann, Abraham Ancer, Mark Leishman, Carlos Ortiz, Sebastian Munoz, and David Puig. Of course, Cam Smith, aforementioned. Being the National Open, a strong Australian Open or Australian contingent will be in attendance trying to claim the Stonehaven Cup themselves. You have an Australian has not won this event since 2019 when Matt Jones claimed his second title. So including the aforementioned Cam Smith, Scott, and Leishman, Minwoo Lee joins the home favorites looking to etch their name in Australian golf lore. Other PGA Tour regulars in this week's field, you have Cam Davis, Rio Histune, Carl Phillips, Siwoo Kim, Ryan Fox, Matt McCarty, and Charlie Hoffman. Notable DP World Tour regulars, you have Rasmus Niergaard Peterson, Elvis Smiley, Kazuma Kapuri, Daniel Hillier, Alex Fitzpatrick, Winnie Ding, among others. Riggs Johnson won this event a season ago, topping Curtis Luck by 3 strokes. Johnson will not be back this week to defend his title. So other former winners of the event, we have a long list here. Neiman in 23, Jones in 2019 and 2015, Answer in 2018, Davis in 2017, McIlroy in 2013, Greg Chalmers in 11 and 98. Yes, 98. Jeff Ogilvy in 2010, Adam Scott in 2009, excuse me, John Senden in 2006, Peter Leonard in 2004 and 2003, and Stephen Allen in 2002. So the course this week is the composite course at Royal Melbourne consists of 12 holes of the venue's west course and 6 holes of the east course. The west course is run by Dr. Alistair Mackenzie and opened in 1926. The east course was run by Alex Russell and opened in 1932. The composite course was first played in 1958 when this venue hosted the World Cup. Overall, Royal Melbourne's composite course is regularly regarded as one of the top 10 golf courses in the entire world. Places a par 72 at roughly 7,007 yards. It is laid out within the Sand Belt of Australian golf. The Sand Belt is a region where the golf gods laid out near perfect conditions for a golf course. Along with Royal Melbourne, some of the best golf courses in the entire world can be found in this exact region. So this golf course specifically, off the tee, golfers will be tasked with finding the correct landing spot within the fairway to attack the greens. This is simply not a golf course that can be outmuscled. It is a second shot venue, meaning that finding the correct landing spot off the tee, opposed to just hitting the ball as close to the green as possible, is more important. From there, golfers will look to land the ball under the hole. They'll be playing to the front of the greens more so than at the pin. Royal Melbourne is notorious for having some of the fastest putting surfaces in the entire world. Holding greens from non-ideal approach shots will be next to impossible. Along with that, many of these greens feature quote unquote death zones, which is just what it sounds like. Trying to get up and down from these spots are going to be next to impossible. The course is known for its large and dramatically shaped bunkers as well. Golfers better be able to get up and down out of these bunkers if they hope to have a chance this week. So in all, I think we're in for a treat this week. I think it's a kind of a shame that this type of venue is kind of slotted here to be kind of a waste event, in my opinion. But it's still gonna be a good one in my opinion along the way.
Yeah, I agree. I think that this event is going to be a lot of fun. This is the one that I'm going to be most tuned into. I think that it's going to have the most theatrics out of the three events this
For
week,
sure.
so I'm ready to rock.
All right, Jack, I got four. What do you got?
I've got three, and I think we've got one crossover right in the middle.
All right, well, I'll kick things off then. Leading my card off here, I'm going with Matt McCarty of the PGA Tour. So typically, when it comes to these DP World Tour events, you and I both like to steer away from the PGA Tour guys bouncing over here, getting a few starts here or there, and then bouncing back to the PGA Tour. But this is different. This is the off season. These guys are coming over well rested. They're not like playing in Houston, finish up on Sunday, then flying to Australia, losing a day, and then trying to tee it up again. They've been off for a while. And this golf course, or excuse me, this event has proven that non-DP World Tour winners have won here often. Neiman in 23, Abraham Ancer in 2018, Jordan Spieth both in 14 and 16, just name a few. So he comes in this week in great form. This is McCarty I'm talking about. T3rd in his last outing of the Bank of Utah Championship, also 14th of the Bay Current, 43rd of the Pro Court, 8th at the Wyndham, all on the PGA Tour. Finished the last season of the PGA Tour, 17th in strokes gained putting, 20th in scrambling, 37th in driving accuracy, 63rd in par 5, 69th in three-putt avoidance, 75th around the green, 86 off the tee, 116th on approach, and 136 in sand save percentages. I just think this is an event type where it's not going to be a DP World Tour guy claiming it down. I think there's some meat in the bone at 28 to 1 for Matt McCarty, who, not that long ago appeared on the PGA Tour in his like first start in one event. So he has great talent when he promoted from the Corn Ferry Tour 2 years ago at this point. So yeah, that's where I'm kicking my card off with.
Yeah, Nate, I gave him a good look just because I think he brings the exact skill set you're looking for this week. I went for your alternate thing that you mentioned. I think he's made like a handful of starts overseas, including at the Open Championship where he missed the cut this year. I just couldn't get to him because of the lack of experience overseas, but he brings the exact skill set you need to be successful. So it wouldn't surprise me at all if he gets it done, and I can't fault you for going with him at the top of your card here.
All right.
My first play here is going to be Daniel Hillier. I cannot get away from him. Just an incredible run of form over the last, 2 or 3 months. Starting from the Open d'Espagne, he had a T23, and then he had three top 10 finishes, including a T5 last week at the Australian PGA Championship. He was the guy that we were both on that had a shot and just didn't have the Sunday that we were looking for to really jumpstart. He's played. Oh no, whoops. Bad podcasting. I don't have the event up. I had the last one up. Anyway, the Crown Australian Open, he's played this event 3 times. He finished T23 at this event last year, missed the cut 2 times before that. But on the DP World Tour season, 95th in driving accuracy, 22nd in driving distance, 23rd in greens and regulation, 45th in putts per green in regulation, 118th in putts per round, 97th in sand saves, and 41st in stroke average. I just think he's in too good of a run of form to pass up. I think I might have skipped over his odds that I got him at, but I took him at 35 to 1, and I hope that he can get it done with the run of form he's on.
Yeah, again, it was on last week with a top five finish. Can't doubt you there. Again, not technically a home field event, but playing from New Zealand, it is as close to home as he'll get on a professional golf level at this point. So, yeah, might as well run it back if we're on last week as well.
Yep.
All right, so my next play here, someone I'm super excited about this week is Abraham Answer at 33 to 1. And if you know what I'm about to list, he's probably gonna be on the wheel of death because of all of this. But either way, not only did he won this event back in 2018 at the Lakes Golf Club, he was also part of the 2019 President's Cup that was held at Royal Melbourne. He had a great showing there while being Mexico's first ever representative on that team. He went 3-2 during the event, only losing to a team of Ricky Fowler and Justin Thomas in four balls after going 3-0 to start. And then he lost his singles match to a guy named Tiger Woods that Sunday. But either way, as a member of Live Golf, there aren't, you know, any stats to go off of. You have your blanket Live stats, so be it. All we have is a proven track record in Australia, very good golf course in form history. He played last week at the BMW Australian PGA Championship with a T33, but just a guy, not many people have a record at this golf course, especially in this field, right? Last time it's held this event was back in 1991. Not many people in the field were on that 2019 President's Cup team. So I think it's an added incentive with how difficult this golf course. So having a knowledge of that, and it's not like Abraham Answer is a walkover golfer either. He's a very talented golfer. We'll see if he can put it all together. Very accurate off the tee as you need this golf course and going to attack greens rather well. So we'll see if it all come together this week at 33 to 1.
Yeah, just given the course history and the track record he has here, I can't fault you for going with him this week. Just wasn't in great form on Live, which kind of scares me coming over. But these Live guys are more motivated than anyone else to get these, OWGR points and to really get themselves into a spot where they could potentially play in these majors and stuff. So can't fault you for going there. With my next play, I went with another guy who has a track record at this event, not necessarily this course, but it's Wenyi Ding, and I got him at 40-1. Yes. He brings a really well-rounded game. He's gotten himself back into form. He started the season on the DP World Tour in some good form where he had a run of top 20s between the Magical Kenya Open and the Turkish Airlines Open. He fell off the wagon where he just kind of lost it with the irons, and it was a pretty abysmal. It looks like he's gotten himself back into form. He played 2 events on the Asian Tour where he finished third and T6, and then last week at the BMW Australian PGA Championship, he finished runner-up. He had a closing round 66, which was tied with the same 66 David Puig had. Just finished 2 strokes short. Played this event last year, finished T5 on the DP World Tour last season. He finished 85th in driving accuracy, 57th in driving distance, 104th in greens and regulation, 120th in putts per green, 53 in average putts per round, 52nd in sand saves, and 46th in stroke average. This is a guy that when he gets hot, he just peppers the leaderboard. I think he's due for a win when he does that. He does not have a DP World Tour win yet. He's 21 years old. He's hungry to get his first win. He brings a pretty well-rounded game overall when you take a larger sample size. I think 40-1 is a very fair number on a guy who finished T5 here last year.
Yeah, he was one of the first people off my list, and everything you talked about, right? This is a guy who, when he has good results, they come in bunches. It's not one here, one there, as you talked about his early season success there on the DP World Tour. So love it, love the play, and of course, plays great Australian golf, as proven last week. All right, roll right now, my next guy, and you alluded to it. This is probably our crossover here, if I'm going to be, if I'm not mistaken,
Yeah,
here with Kazuma Kapori. I have him 70-1. Where do you got him?
66.
Okay, so he looked great last week through the first three rounds, and then shot a four over final round to derail any chance he had there. But prior to that, he placed 42nd in the DP World Tour Championship, 41st in Abu Dhabi, finished last season second in accuracy, 23rd in scrambling, 21st around the green, 42nd in putting, 45th in three putt avoidance, 102nd on approach, 106 in par fives, 115 off the tee, and 137 out of the sand. This is a guy who can get hot and put in birdies in a hurry. He can score low on any given day. And this is a golf course that's going to be challenging. I don't think we're going to go, a ton of super low scores this week. So if it takes one round to really propel yourselves, may it be moving day on Saturday or a final round to really shoot low and get yourself over the finish line, I think Azuma Kapori could do it. And talking about a field here that, it's front loaded, right? It's not a super heavy field, especially being co-sanctioned. So I think 71 is a fair number for someone like Kazuma Kapori, who had, if it were just a three-round golf event last week, he would have been in contention. That final round took him out, but he's had some great results throughout the season. He's some runner-ups as well. So I think this is a great bounce back area for Kazui to get it done.
Yeah, for a challenging golf course, just in general, I'm looking for a guy who's going to smack fairways and drain putts and just try to get lucky with the irons and catch those hot on a good day. And that's exactly what Kabori brings to the table. I thought 66 was a great number. I think that's still looming around there with like a 65. He also brings a really competent around the green game to the table. So I'm with you on him. Maybe we can get another crossover before the 2025 year comes to an end, Nate.
Yeah, I'll take it. It'd be the same number as what we hit Sammy at, essentially. So let's
Yep.
do it again. I got one more play here, and it's kind of just a long shot guy here. I tried it last week with a Frenchman. I'm going with a different one. Clement started at 200-1. He ended his skid of missed cuts on the DP World Tour with a made cut last week in Australia. Part of that, three missed cuts, but then he had a T42 in France, T15 in Ireland, T33 at the Omega European Masters, and T33 at the Betfred British Masters. Finished last season sixth on tour out of the sand, 17th in putting, 34th around the green, 61st in par 5, 68th in scrambling, 79th off the tee, 81st in accuracy, 111th in three-putt avoidance, and 139 in approach. So he's a great around the green player, a great putter. So that's really what I put the, you know, favor into is saving pars when needed, getting yourself out of some trouble here and there, and just giving yourself a chance. At 201, I'm not looking for this guy to come out here and dominate this event whatsoever. Just hang around, and he has a great around the green game, scrambles rather well, really good with the putter. Just if those irons can really stay hot for him, if he can get those irons hot, excuse me, I think there's a maybe an outdoor chance that, he can at least make some noise come Sunday.
Yeah, Nate, you covered everything I was going to say. I think 200-1, there's plenty of meat on the bone. You don't have to risk a lot to win a lot of money, so I like the play there.
All right. So that wraps up the three tournaments this week. After this week, we'll be hitting the kind of the really slow stretch. I know there's a DP World Tour events to talk about. We have some stuff to talk about on the podcast as we trickle through December and into early January before the PGA Tour really gets going and heats back up, and then we'll be right back at it where we left off not that long ago. So make sure you're staying tuned for all of that. Make sure you're following us all over the social medias. And speaking of that, Jake, where can we find you on social media?
Yep, you can find me at JakeOOTR on Twitter. My outright cards will be posted there by the time you're listening to this, so be sure to give those a like and give me a follow. Also, be sure to join the Out of the Rough Discord. It's completely free to join. There are no hidden paywalls once you're in there. A community of 250 plus members, ranging from just people who love the game of golf to professional gamblers. So everyone brings their own unique perspective that's super valuable. It's a great resource to have completely free at your disposal, at your fingertips, free of charge, access to everything in there. I've mentioned it at the top of the hour, just a lot of great features in there. So be sure to join. Reach out to Nate or myself, and we'll get you the link to join.
For sure. Be sure to take advantage of that free tool at your fingertips. You can find myself, Nate, on Twitter at NateOOTR. Be sure to visit our website, www.ootrough.com, for everything we have to offer there. And until next time, guys, we'll see you.